Oh, Sally.
Hi, Sharon.
It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you as well and everyone else.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good to see you, Sam. It is.
And nice to see you,
Goodness,
Sydney,
Judy
as well.
Marinoff. People I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness I have seen her. Yeah.
Yes, thank goodness you have. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Jared. Yeah. Can you come here a second and tell me?
Tiffany and Sharon, it is 12:01 and you have 47 participants.
Tiffany, would you like us to get started?
Yes, welcome to the basics lunch. Go ahead, Sharon.
Okay. Hi, everyone. We're thrilled to see you all today, and thanks for taking time out of what we know are very busy virtual days these days to be with us. My name is Sharon Friedman, and I direct a project called Montgomery Moving Forward, which is an initiative of nonprofit Montgomery. And I'm here with my good friend Joanne Barnes, who is the Director of Children, Youth, and Families in the Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services. And together, we're going to welcome you. So Montgomery Moving Forward is absolutely thrilled to be partnering with the Department of Health and Human Services, the Community Action Board, to launch the Basics Initiative here in Montgomery County. The Basics is very much a community-based initiative, which is one of the things that I think appeals to all of us. And it is a program that is aimed at improving early childhood outcomes. We know an investment in early childhood and a return on that investment is absolutely key to the future success of our young children. Kindergarten readiness is a very important part of this program, and it's based on 5 parenting and caregiving pillars that produce high quality social and emotional. And I want to emphasize the emotional piece, especially in this particular environment we're living in now, in the development of all children from birth to age 5. And these pillars bear repeating because they're very essential and, again, very important in the environment in which we live. Number 1, for young children, how to maximize love and manage stress. Number 2, how to talk, to sing, and point. Number 3, counting, grouping, and comparing. Number 4, exploring through movement and play. And number 5, reading and discussing stories, the all-important reading. And now I'm going to ask Joanne to tell you a little bit about our particular innovation here in Montgomery County in the Gaithersburg area. Joanne?
Thank you, Sharon, and good afternoon to everyone. It's my pleasure to be here and participate in the launch of the pilot of the Basics program in Montgomery County. On behalf of the County Executive, Mark Elridge, and the Director of Health and Human Service, Dr. Raymond Crow, and our entire Early Childhood Services team, we commend the Office of Community Affairs, the Community Action Board, and Montgomery Moving Forward for identifying the funds to launch this meaningful pilot of basics in our community. As a county, we've strived to include parents as a key teacher for their young children. Just to age myself a little bit, we initially made commitments to parents through 5 parent resource centers in the county as a partnership with HOC. Then we partnered with the Infant and Toddlers Program to implement 2 family involvement centers, one in Rockville and another in Gaithersburg. These 2 programs are still in existence, modeling play activities to stimulate and teach young children. So it just makes sense that through a partnership with Montgomery Moving Forward and other local partners, the Community Action Board, that this pilot becomes a reality. The pilot will focus on the 20877 zip code of Montgomery County, specifically working with the Head Start and pre-K programs at South Lake, Washington Grove, Gaithersburg, and Summit Hall elementary schools, and their community and service partners. By undertaking a focused marketing, outreach, and education campaign in the 20877 zip code, the program partners aim to increase the recognition of the basics, principles, and practices among Head Start and pre-K families and community partners in that zip code. I am so excited that the families will be reached, and it's an opportunity for us to learn from this and hopefully eventually see a program that's fully adopted throughout the county as a tool to develop infants and toddlers into ready pre-K and kindergarten students that are ready to engage in school, ready to learn, and ready to form relationships. So welcome. I'm going to turn it back over to Sharon.
Thanks, Joanne. Now it's my pleasure to say hello and welcome Councilmember Sydney Katz. Just as a shout out both to the entire County Council and Sydney and your leadership and the County Executive for being champions of early care and education here in Montgomery County. We are very, very lucky that in an ongoing way, you have supported our county's littlest residents and their families. So I'll turn to Councilmember Katz now to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much, Sharon, and good afternoon and congratulations to Montgomery Moving Forward, Community Action Agency, community partners, and most importantly, Head Start families on the launch of the Basics Montgomery County. I could not be prouder to have this pilot project in District 3 as the District 3 County Council member. I'm also the former mayor of Gaithersburg, and it's great to see my good friend and the current mayor, Judd Ashman, here, as well as I saw on the screen, Board of Education President Brenda Wolf. I did want to mention that Mary Geis from my office is here, who handles these issues for my office. And of course, I did see my wife, Sally, on the call as well. This morning, she told me she was going to be on this, and I said, well, you know, I'm actually one of the speakers. And then I had to tell her that Judd and others were going to speak. So I think that's why she came. But, you know, I have often said that a community is a family. And the Montgomery County family has come together once again in the service to its members. I stand with you in your commitment to the social and emotional development of all children from birth onward. Research clearly tells us that these basic principles drive brain growth and development, helping children enter school ready to learn and succeed. Even more so, it reinforces to parents and caregivers their role as their children's most important and impactful teachers. The Basics Montgomery County launch could not come at a better time. Far too many families have been negatively impacted by COVID-19. None more so than the parents and children targeted by this program. I view this initiative as a critical component of the overall education recovery plan and as a necessary strategy to advance educational equity. I've been having ongoing discussions with early childhood leadership within county government and nonprofit partners about how we as a community can improve the language learning environment of our youngest children. In support of that effort, my office applied to the Little Free Library Impact Program and was approved to receive a free book exchange box, which will soon be available to all of Montgomery County at 1010 Grandin Avenue in Rockville, home of the Family Discovery Center and Safe Passages Center. For those of you who are not familiar, a Little Free Library is a book sharing box where anyone may take a book or share a book at no cost. They function on the honor system. Readers do not need to share a book in order to take one, but are asked to try to bring some to share when they can. I was so excited about this opportunity to promote literacy and a love of books that can be shared between parents, children, and siblings, that with contributions from members of my county council family, as well as my wife, Sally, we have purchased another box sharing box. I would like to donate this Little Free Library to the Basics Montgomery County pilot in support of the fifth pillar, read and discuss stories. Tell me where the box sharing box would best serve the community, and I will ensure it is installed, stocked, and maintained. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this exciting event. Do not hesitate to reach out to me or my office if I can ever be of service in your efforts. Thank you very much, Sharon.
Council member, that is such a fabulous gift. Thank you very much. And it will go to good use, for example. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to introduce Tiffany. Tiffany Jones is the coordinator of the Basics Project here in Gaithersburg. I give her a huge shout out for all the work that she's done to get us started, and also to our colleague Farah Najir Kantor. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Charlene. Charlene Mohammed, who you will hear from later, has been the absolute inspiration to get us going on this project. So Tiffany, turning it over to you now to take us forward.
Well, thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you, Councilmember Katz, for your donation of a little library. It will be put to good use. And I have the honor of introducing the Mayor of Gaithersburg, Mayor Jed Ashman.
Hello, everybody. Tiffany, thank you very much. And it's always a pleasure and an honor to follow my friend and mentor, Sydney Katz, and Little Free Libraries are just the best. So I'm really excited about that. So anyway, I'm about to introduce myself in a way Sydney is very familiar with, because it's a tradition here. My name's Judd Ashman, and I have the honor to serve you as mayor of the greatest city in the world, Gaithersburg, Maryland. And our city is about to become an even greater place as we get down to basics with all of the wonderful, energetic partners who are joining this Montgomery Moving Forward initiative of nonprofit Montgomery. We are delighted that the 20877 zip code has been selected for this pilot program. I know that the area was identified based on a variety of demographic metrics, but in addition to that, Gaithersburg and its partners are uniquely positioned to provide the outreach and support this program needs to make a significant impact on our families and with young children. The dire necessities brought about by the pandemic forced us as a city to be even more collaborative and creative than we already were. The relationships that we have forged to ensure that our residents are housed, fed, and cared for will be tapped again as we seek out families with preschool-aged children and start to provide them with the tools to foster early learning success. Programs like the Basics offer a strong foundation that will give rise to a future generation of Gaithersburg residents who are prepared for whatever this world throws at them. And since we're talking about reading, and since I happen to believe that the very best way to inspire young readers and foster generations of readers is to expose them to create a culture around reading and have them even have opportunities to meet the authors, I wanted to give a quick a quick plug to the Gaithersburg Book Festival, which is coming up in May. Our festival is now in its 12th year and has put our community on the national literary map. And it's going to be virtual this year and feature presentations from some of the very best authors on the planet. And again, how better to inspire kids and families in general to a culture of reading than to hear from the authors themselves. So after we're done with the basics, and you know, when you have time, I hope you'll go to the Gaithersburg Book Festival website, gaithersburgbookfestival.org, and take a look and join us in fostering our mission to foster generations of readers here in the community. The city is proud to serve as a basics implementation partner. We're represented today by both Tawana Lofton, our project manager in our community services division. I thought I saw Maureen Herndon come across the chat as well. And we have Stacy Simon, who's the chair of our Educational Enrichment Committee. We stand at the ready to support this program and tap into our vast network of partners to make it a success. Thank you so much for including us in this launch ceremony today. And we look forward to working with all of you. Let's do great things.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ashman. Now we'll hear from Dr. Ron Ferguson, the founder of The Basics.
Hi, great to see everybody. Nice to recognize a number of faces from previous times I've been on with you. I just want to welcome all of you to the Basics Learning Network. We kicked this work off in Boston about 4 or 5 years ago, and almost immediately folks from other communities start coming and say, hey, can we play too? And I told them, well, we're still figuring it out. And the response I got back was, that's okay, we'll figure it out together. And so now we have several dozen communities around the US and abroad who have come together to figure out how do we achieve what we call socio-ecological saturation. Socio-ecological saturation means reaching parents through multiple channels, saturating the parents' ecology, their social ecology, their network of relationships, by working through their pediatricians and their librarians and their ministers and all the different types of people that they interact with regularly and who are trusted messengers in their social ecology. Montgomery County and Gaithersburg are set up to be exemplar communities. You check all the boxes. You got everything it takes to really be an outstanding site for this initiative. This is a bit more about those basics principles and how they connect up. That maximize love, manage stress is important, not only because it makes people feel good today, but it's because it's a foundation for self-regulation and what we call executive function skills. So kids learn to focus their attention or be able to switch from one thing to another, be able to resist resist temptation, be able to make a plan and follow through with it. When kids are safe and secure and aren't stressed when they're little kids, it makes all the difference for whether they can just sit still and pay attention when they get to kindergarten. Talk, sing, and point. Kids can hear 3 months before they're born, so we want to talk real talk as soon as they're born. We want to point to things to help infants more quickly associate words with objects. Count, group, and compare. We want to play grouping games with toddlers so they'll catch on to the idea that numbers correspond to groups of things. 4 is not just the word you say after 3, it's 4 of something. We want to make parents know that that playtime is exploration time, is discovery time, and parents want to be learning partners and get involved in play to cultivate curiosity, to let kids know that their curiosity is welcomed. And read and discuss stories is not only about reading, and actually for infants and toddlers, it's not even about reading. It's about telling a story. It's about pointing at the bright colors on the page and speaking with expression and letting the child handle the book. All these things I'm saying, there's some parts of our society where people, they've read all the early childhood books. They know all these things. They're on it from day one. Then there are other families who say, wait, well, they'll start to learn when they get to kindergarten. Right now, we'll just kind of feed them and make sure they go to bed on time, okay? And so for the folks who don't know that there is a science of early development, that the quantity and quality of early brain development depends on these rich interactions, that the brain doubles in size in the first year from 33% to 70% of its adult size and 80% by the time kids are 3 years old and 90% by the time they're 5 years old. We need to get the word out to the folks who don't know. It's as if there's a race, and some families, by the time kindergarten starts, they've been around the track 3 times already. Other families are sitting there waiting for the gun to go off so that they can start the race. and it's not fair, right? And so we want to create a even playing field where families from all backgrounds know about the science, they know what they need to do, they have access to the tools, they're receiving the information, the social reinforcements, the reminders, and that's the pathway to achieving excellence. Right now, the gaps we care about are very much established by the time kids are 2 years old, not even half the way to kindergarten. The gaps in the nationally representative data are stark. And so we have opportunities as communities, as whole communities, to come together around families and support them. I just urge a lot of you right now, this has been referred to as a pilot. Please don't let this just be a pilot. Okay, please gather together, bring together your resources, and make sure that this thing persists. A minute ago, Mayor Ashman said, well, when the basics is done, he meant when this half hour was done. I hope the basics is never done in a larger sense of things. So I'll stop with that and just welcome to the network. And I'm so excited to have your community on board.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ferguson. And now we'll hear from Roberto Flores, a parent involvement specialist with Montgomery County Public Schools, about what the basics implementation partners are saying.
Buenas tardes, comunidad del condado de Montgomery. Es un honor estar presente en el lanzamiento de este programa, los básicos, y sobre todo, pues que la comunidad hispana pueda estar representada como miembro de lo que es las escuelas públicas del condado de Montgomery. Hemos tenido la oportunidad de apoyar lo que es la planificación y el lanzamiento del programa Los Básicos. Para nosotros, para los programas de Pre-Kinder y Head Start, esta es una oportunidad para que todos los niños menores de 5 años puedan desarrollarse de una mejor manera en el área socioemocional a través del programa Los Básicos. Hago un llamado a todas aquellas entidades, aquellas agencias, aquellas personas que quieran unirse a este esfuerzo. Sobre todo con este programa, esta iniciativa va a estar enfocada en lo que es el código postal 20877. También incluye ciertas escuelas como por ejemplo las que están ubicadas en el área de Emory Grove, Summit Hall, Washington Grove y Gaithersburg. Quiero también comentar de que tenemos, además de las escuelas públicas como socio estratégico, también contamos con otras organizaciones como Identity, como Shepherd Pratt, como la ciudad de Gaithersburg, así como también las bibliotecas públicas del condado de Montgomery, el Departamento de Salud y Servicios Humanos y programas también para bebés y niños pequeños y la Comisión de Oportunidades de Vivienda. Por favor, intégrense a esta iniciativa, ya que es para el provecho de nuestros infantes, de nuestros niños. Y pues, como mencionó el doctor Ferguson, este es un programa que está pues respaldado por evidencia científica y ha sido un éxito. Así es de que le hago un atento llamado para que se involucren y que puedan registrarse y también pues tomar ventaja y aprovechar, ya que este programa se va a ofrecer de manera gratuita y es importante mostrar participación para que más adelante el programa pueda extenderse a otros códigos postales dentro del área del condado de Montgomery. Muchas gracias y es un placer.
Thank you so much, Roberto. And now we're gonna share our screen to see the basics webpage. So you can find the basics here. And Farah will put the link to the website into the chat. But we also can be found on Facebook and Instagram, as well as TikTok and YouTube. Here is our Instagram page. So you can follow us and check us out on our social media links. You can join our Facebook groups so that we can build a community of parents and caregivers, also implementation partners and providers that are actually integrating the basics principles into their caregiving practices. So now we have a question and answer portion. If you have a question, you can type it into the chat. Any questions? So you can find the basics. We can be reached by email. Also the website that has lots of helpful videos, also how to contact us, and links to the Boston Basics website, which has a wealth of videos, a community toolkit, also a parent toolkit.
You know, Tiffany, a good question was just asked by Carla Silvestri, I believe, about pediatricians. And Dr. Ferguson had talked earlier about all segments of the community be involved in this. And I know that you've done some outreach with pediatricians. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes.
I think you're asking me or you're asking Tiffany?
Tiffany.
Or Tiffany, yeah.
Yeah.
So we would love to have pediatricians that are located in the 20877 area to be involved as implementation partners. So if you're interested, if you have contacts of pediatricians in the area, that will be very helpful, and you can contact us to be a part of the pilot.
And Tiffany, how will we know about impact, that we're making a difference with this project? Someone put a question in the chat to that effect.
So we'll know if we're making an impact if parents are actually using the basics principles, and if a parent has begun reading to their child and also expanding upon that and discussing the stories, not just reading the stories. If parents are talking to other parents and encouraging them to integrate the principles in their life. Dr. Ferguson talked about socio-ecological saturation, where parents hear about the principles everywhere they go, whether they're at their preschool, in their Head Start class, in their pediatrician's office. If there is continual contacts of, and repetitive hearing of the basic principles, then parents will be able to better integrate the principles into their daily interactions with their children.
And we do have some ways to track and measure that, that we can work with the community on.
And Tiffany, in addition, what specific outreach will we be doing to the refugee communities? And in particular, how would that be done, including non-Spanish speaking families?
Well, our implementation partners are our connection to the communities. Roberto Flores and Jonathan Cartagena from the Fatherhood Initiative. Also, Nora Morales at Identity have been working really hard to make community connections. Also, the city of Gaithersburg, through their hubs and distribution sites, will be reaching those communities.
Great. Thanks, Tiffany.
Mm-hmm. Carla also asked a question about how do we make this program culturally relevant for Latino and other targeted families. And we have a basics advisory committee, and we meet twice monthly to discuss and strategize about how to reach families and different strategies. So we are hearing directly from providers of specific communities to be able to reach them in an appropriate way.
We should also point out that all the material that faces families is also available in Spanish.
Right. And Tiffany, how many families are we seeking to reach out to, and children?
So we're trying to reach 80% of the communities. Our target is 80% of the children and families that are connected to the schools that Roberto shared. And we're hoping for more.
And Children's Opportunity Fund. Definitely, there's a question about Children's Opportunity Fund that I think you can answer.
Yes, Children's Opportunity Fund is an implementing partner. And our basics materials are available in multiple languages, as well as the videos. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So I'm going to hand it back over to Sharon.
I think that it is very appropriate that we ask Charlene to say a few words. As I said earlier, she was and continues to be the inspiration behind the innovation of this project in Montgomery County, beginning in Gaithersburg, but hopefully expanding to the whole county at some point in the future. And before I turn it over to Charlene to close the launch today, I failed to give Mary Bennett a shout out. Mary is a consultant to Montgomery Moving Forward, and it was Mary that really found the basics from Montgomery Moving Forward's perspective, although we know that the Department of Health and Human Services has had it on their radar screen for a while. So Mary, a shout out to you for all the research you did to help prepare us for this day. And now Charlene, will you say a few words in closing?
Oh, welcome and thanks everyone for being here today. I'm excited about this project as well. I think there was a question about how many families specifically. So we have approximately 8 to 10 Head Start pre-K classrooms in that area. So if you times that by 20, that would be the minimum amount that we would be targeting. And then again, we have Shepherd Pratt Early Head Start program. Their families will also be targeted as well. So, 80% of maybe, let's say 300, 400 families to begin with. And then of course, when I'm reaching out with social media, Facebook, Instagram, that way we will actually be saturating beyond 20877. And that I think will be a good footprint for when we really start branching in the project. I just want to say thank you for all. I'm excited to be part of this process. The HHS family is just thrilled to be partnering with nonprofit Montgomery and Montgomery Moving Forward. And we're hoping that everyone on this call will be joining us because we need all hands on deck to do something in some way to support the basics. So thank you. Thank you for everyone who came today.
Thanks, Charlene. And to everyone, Farah has put the ways in which you can contact us. Should you want to become involved, we hope that you will help us spread the word. And as importantly, we'll hope that you'll help us think creatively about how we build and enhance this project in Gaithersburg and also move it beyond to other areas of Montgomery County. So thanks so much for your time today and being part of an investment in our county's littlest residents and their families. Be well.
Smile on your